Hello friends, good morning. How are you? Now it's a rainy season in Mumbai. So much rain now. From early morning to evening there is rain. Now climate is very nice and calm. Temperature is also brought down to 28 to 30 degree. Is reasonably good. So friends, I am reciting very small poetry what I have written long back. These are all 3, 4, 5 lines poetry. I always say writing poetry is not easy thing to write. In my opinion, poetry is a very deepest imagination of something and you are trying to incorporate few words and a bigger thought can be put into a very kind of a smaller version, that is few words, and you can complete that thought in 3 or 4 lines. So there is a difference between writing a prose novel and a poetry. If I give the higher order, poetry is something you have a milk. Imagine you have a milk. From there, if you want to derive certain things, certain extraction you want to make it, different products if you want to make it, many things you can make it. What are the things you can make it? You can make curd from milk, or you can make ghee, you can make chas, or you can make also kheer. Okay, that is again another a kind of a food derived from milk with putting some ingredients. So in my opinion, milk is the baseline. It's basically thought process you are taking. That thought process can be of anything. From there, individual mind, when giving a particular shape of those ideas, like imagine if you think of a nature is a kind of a milk baseline. From there, if somebody is writing a poetry, or somebody is writing a novel, or somebody is deriving some ideas, those are the outcomes. As I have told you, if poetry can be a ghee, matlab, if you take 1 liter milk, the idea which is there available in nature, there are many things. So you want to zoom down. Sorry, you want to zoom down, or you want to have the concentration of those 1 liter milk, and finally you are converting into maybe 10 grams, 20 grams, or 50 grams ghee out of it. In my opinion, whoever is able to reduce the quantity or more concentrated form, they are better poet. Similar way, you have a milk. If somebody wants to 1 liter milk, somebody wants to derive, or somebody wants to write a prose or write a novel, it has to be in the detailed form. But the interesting part is what are the ingredients they are taking and composing that part and expressing the idea. In my opinion, those are kind of some kind of prepared product. It might be ghee, the quantity is more. So like that, novel and prose. The novel size is a voluminous. There are many characters. They try to derive it and try to explain certain things, a particular thematic area. Prose is again, it is. I'd rather say prose is also little smaller size. There maybe of 4,000, 5,000, or 6,000 words limitation. You try to derive something out of that. What I am trying to tell you now, in a given particular situation, a particular thematic area, if this same job is given to a poet, same job is given to a painter, same job is given to a novelist, same job is given to a prose, whoever is writing. Now, keeping the same objective in mind, a poet can be judged how and which condensed form he is writing these 3-4 lines. That 3-4 lines become the abstract of your whole idea. Like when you write a research paper, you have to give a kind of abstract where once somebody is reading that abstract, he or she will have the whole idea of the consequences or the whole facts for that matter. Now the question is, a good poetry, how somebody with his imagination and wisdom, the entire thought process is condensing and putting into a very smaller form. That is more important to judge somebody, or if somebody is evaluating somebody's poetry in that form, he or she can be judged what kind of words speaking up. I told you in my many videos about writing poetry. Writing poetry is not that easy thing to do that. I have gone through world literature like Shakespeare, Shelley, Keats, Byron, T.S. Eliot, all those great poets. I talked about the selection of word is very, very important. Selection of word, choice of word. Whoever is writing from whichever mother language or any other language, trying to express certain things, first of all, choice of word is very important. When I say choice of word or selection of word, those are they are picking up from their mother language. Sometimes if it is touched with a folk song, or if it is English, selecting a simple word and each word is connected to another word, there is a kind of a rhyme kind of thing. It is not that if you are selecting two words, it should not have a conflict, or it should have the same echo from one word to the another word. So it's a kind of a meaningful thing. So you can make a kind of a lyric or something like that. It is easier to understand. Now, I talked about the entropy value also. Now you can derive also the energy. What I told you, that if in a given situation, if 1 liter milk is given, so that milk, if somebody is explaining what is this milk is all about, if somebody is deriving the ghee, it's a, in terms of weight, if you have 1 liter ghee, probably it gives 50 gram or 75 grams of ghee. So it is equivalent in that case. If you drink 1 liter milk and 50 grams or 75 grams of ghee, it is at the end of the day, it is the same energy somebody is getting, what I am trying to tell over here. There is no conflict between a poet, a novelist, or a prose writer, or a painter for that matter. Only the way of expression is different. So a poet is drawing a painting having the same nature in mind or having the same 1 liter milk in mind, that is the baseline, is trying to draw in one go one painting having all the thoughts. Now the question is, the capabilities of a painter can be judged only whether he or she is a good painter or not based on his understanding, because when he or she is drawing the painting, the idea of what is coming from what I told, person has to reflect in one canvas maybe of 2 feet or 3 feet size. So everything should be there in one go, that should be reflected. Similar way, a poetry, I am talking about a 1 liter milk or an idea from nature thematic area, it has to be reflected in 3, 4, 5 lines. Similar way, whoever is writing a prose, his description should be such a way which is covering the whole thing. It can be 1 page or it can be 2000 words or 3000 words. It is more little descriptive way of writing is if somebody is writing novels, so there are many characters, fiction character that comes into the picture, but directly it is talking about that particular environment, what it is given. Now, everybody, if I take this as a milk, everybody is trying to have their own opinion about the milk, and in different forms they are expressing the whole thing. Now from that I talked about the entropy value. You can have each word, if you can take it as a mass, and the potential of each word, if you put some value of energy, so you can easily draw what is the total energy or entropy value is there in your poetry. On that basis, probably out of 100, somebody is getting how much score that can be judged. This is a different way of thinking, scientific way of thinking whether something is a good poetry or bad poetry. As I have told you, knowledge, it is very difficult to have 3-4 person is sitting and deciding whether person A, B, C, D, who is more knowledgeable, who is not. If you have given a chance to give a marks or putting a order, so this is the only way to judge it. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult for somebody to judge the capabilities of certain person of specific work. That's why probably our education system has come to evaluate somebody. This is way they evaluate it. I'm talking about purely the literary work or creative work. One can be judged by putting this entropy value, the energy calculation, the choice of word, the idea, few other things. You can derive at a certain conclusion that which one is having better meaning or has got better relevance. Many other factors one can derive. So that wisdom, now the question is, who is going to decide that how good or how bad your poetries are? For that matter, probably one can have certain parameters. The parameters mean you can have the reference point of certain things, one standards you can make it, and from that standards one can refer that, okay, look, this is the poetry and those are the words picked up by certain things to express that particular idea. For that matter, painting also, that reference point one can use it, that reference point can be made by us, that the qualified mind or intellectual minds who are thinking that whether the idea of what I am proposing, whether it is good, that reference point always can be made, and that from reference point one can decide that. This is going to help you in assessing lot of things, lot of creative mind, their emotions and their content, unbiased way. So friends, what I was talking about in my previous lecture, why we still remember those poets till date. There are thousands of poets written many things, but we don't consider them as a good poet or a good writer, good novelist. Why those things? The difference is there. If you are talking about a lot of great minds in Russia, in Europe, or from India, till we remember them, their literature. So I don't like to make this video much lengthier. I will have different occasion to express certain things. I wish one should think, the literary world should think of bringing science into this picture in the creative world for analysis. There is another dimension one can give, that if somebody is using, while writing poetry, prose, painting, somebody is using the science, the different dimension. We talked about 2 dimension, 3 dimension. Now the painting, what is coming, similar way, can you give a second dimension or third dimension towards the prose or poetry somebody? It is simply reading, probably one can apparently see what is trying to tell, but it has got another dimension or another meaning to understand it, to clarify certain things. Not necessarily every time poet has to justify or explain what he wants to write or what he means to write. It is better the reader who is writing, that his poetry is full of imagination. It is not good to talk about what I want to convey by writing this poetry. It is not at all required. It should be open to the reader, whichever way they want to express their opinion. I think that barrier or that kind of freedom or liberty to be given to audience, and that kind of imaginary thought to be also there in the poetry or in the painting or in the prose, or if somebody is writing a prose of a kind of a imaginary thing, the idea also imaginary, or it's a basically what I say, it is a kind of a, if it is a detective kind of thing, or it kind of a adventure kind of thing, it can be curiosity kind of thing. So many characters, many correlations sometimes, right, and many ideas that comes into the picture. For the novel also, there are a lot of fiction characters that comes into the picture. That fiction characters are nothing but you try to put somebody, that your own imagination, you have to express the thing. If you have to express your things, you have to bring lot of characters. Those characters is speaking on behalf of your ideas. You are trying to give 1, 2, 3, 4 character. That character is analyzing the whole thing. So I think those are the basic things for writing a good poetry, bad poetry. For that matter, initial level one might not be able to judge what is writing. I told one more thing, writing poetry, writing prose, one should, once you have certain thoughts, you please write whatever you want to write. Whatever things you don't think you have, you write in a piece of paper. keep on writing the whole thing as long as nobody is bothering you, right? Because it's a kind of a draft. So it can be of anything, any idea. Those things are first the primary thing. Your idea you have written in a form. Now the question is, after few days, after 7 days or 8 days, 10 days, you allow them to keep it aside in a staple form. You keep it somewhere. Now you bring back the same document. You will see there are a lot of things which you personally feel this is not good, this is not relevant, so I should cut and put a new sentence or put a new heading of the subject. Those things are there. So you allow them means you keep the script down means what? If you keep the script like this kind of script down, you write anything. 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 words you write, take a pen, piece of paper. So those are the initial thought process. It is something like that. If you think is a mind is a kind of a machine, it's working like no, it's not machine, it is not repeating. There are different ideas. You have to download this idea basically. Once you want to download it, you have to write it. There is no way you can do it. Otherwise, you can have a voice recording facilities. Again, you have to translate it. It's better you write. Now, after few days, after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you see you try to zoom down your idea with a whichever form. If you are writing poetry or prose or novel for that matter or any issues, then you will be able to zoom down your things in a much more presentable form, giving time, giving idea to come to a kind of a state that whatever you have written, there is no conflict between your idea and what you have tried to write over here. Sometimes it happens, it deviates somewhere. So you have your own equilibrium, or you compromise with your mind and your idea, and this is a documented thing. Probably you feel this is fine. I won't ask anybody to take advice from anybody. The reason is very simple, because in your creative thing, if you feel that your idea is unique idea, you need not take advice from anybody. It might dilute the whole thing. This is what I'm not getting into those things deeply. It is better if you feel that your idea or wisdom says this is the idea, it is better keep in this form only. It should be coming from your mind, and whatever you have written, you have full right, and you should express in that way. Similar way, I was talking about many things, writing your PhD thesis or research paper or project. I always say, please, if you want to have a good PhD or thesis work or research work, try to analyze not in one dimension. You should have many dimensions into the picture. You should have a lot of interpretation. For that matter, you need to have see in totality whatever experiment you do. I have told many times I'm going to speak about whatever the greatest research or discovery is taken place. It is all from the minds. First you have to have what you are trying to do. The experiment is coming afterwards. Once you decide your objective of your research project, then this is the experiment is coming. For that matter, whenever, whatever times you are writing it, you need to write in many dimensions. You have to have understanding of, if you are a biologist, if you are a chemist, so you have to give all dimension to your work so that your quality of work will be much more improved. Probably one is not having idea of other subject, that's why it is required to have interdisciplinary things, bringing other people. I have seen in many places in abroad, writing a good paper, you need to have coordination. including a mathematician putting into a biologist paper, or including a genetics person writing a biophysics journal. There are many things. The quality of paper, if you see the importance of interdisciplinary action, it enhances your capabilities. Writing a good research paper and writing a good poetry or prose, philosophically both are same. The kind of energy probably one is giving for the poetry, I personally feel it has got the higher rank than writing a kind of a research paper, because those research papers sometimes it is taken out from many work, and probably one is doing the second step, third step, or fourth step. Means all ideas are there, but in case of poetry, if it is a unique poetry, it is all very kind of new ideas somebody is writing. I'm talking about the good poetries. Similar way, if I talk about a good research paper, unique thinking, that is a very, who is working on theoretical biology, some philosophical cosmology, or astrophysics, many other things. There are like Stephen Hawking, those are work, unique work. Even though the work of Stephen Hawking has got a lot of reference to older things, there are, I'm not getting into the complexity of the subject. Science has got its own evolution from hundreds of years. The journey is there. Whoever is doing work, already it is there in the back of their mind that what is there in the past. They are always taking the reference from the past, and probably somebody is thinking ahead, who are the great scientists who have done. Like a normal researcher, if some work is given, so one has to be very clear and straightforward whether some interpretation, some application can be derived, then correlating with many things rather than simply describing about the experiment. So one has to also keep a lot of open-ending question. Sometimes we write a thesis paper keeping that we have all the conclusion, all goody-goody conclusion. I am not getting into those. Goody-goody conclusions are good. Sometimes you need to put a lot of question unanswered. That is going to give you again thought. That is going to give you others to think that how to carry forward. So nothing is conclusive in this world. That is what I was trying to tell you. I have tried to talk about how poetry, literature, novel, science, art, whatever creative thing you do, they're basically at the end of the day all are same. Idea level it is same. So that's why all are given at the end of the day. If somebody is pursuing PhD, is Doctor of Philosophy. So we don't mention Doctor of Philosophy of XYZ, we mention PhD. If somebody is writing Doctor of Philosophy within brackets something, it is not good, because you have the whole philosophy and wisdom what you are carrying out. You are parallel to, because you should be given a chance, you qualify to sit with everybody to discuss the philosophical. When I talk about philosophy, it is above politics, above religion, above boundary, everything. We talk about the philosopher. Philosophers, the great philosophers never talk about the politics. They talk about probably one living existence or society, the betterment. I will come back to you how this is the philosophy of the philosopher, how the lower order has been taken into different shape. I will talk about philosophy and deriving a different ideology, different ism or nationalism. I'll talk about that part in my next presentation. I am getting into little deeper understanding the society, understanding the creative mind. I think it is close to 29 minutes. I should stop now so that I can make a different video. I am now trying to make it. I've been spending, because I do not have the script again, I am telling. But I am supposed to read or recite some poetry, but I have taken a deviation. It's okay, fine, there is no problem. Take care. Hope whoever is writing poetry, probably it will give them some opportunity or doing some research, some thought process to do some refining of things, probably it is going to help. I hope. So thank you very much. Good luck. Bye bye. Take care.